I just got done binge watching all 8 episodes of Unlocked, a Jail Experiment, and I've got a lot to say. In this 8-part series, Sheriff Eric Higgins is trying an experiment inside a jail. The goal of this entire project is to give the freedom, providing privileges like free phone calls to show that detainees that they can act like normal people and not criminals. Now, I've seen so much talked about this show, but I think so many individuals missed the point. And what I mean missed the point is this series showcased to me how our prison systems are so ass backwards. Too often we're seeing criminals institutionalized, whether they grow up in a bad area and they just find themselves caught up in things and they spend time and time and time again in jail. And sure, yes, they've committed the crime, let's do the time. But what are they doing to help assess the situation, put these individuals in better situations after they serve their time? They're not. This experiment was definitely interesting. It had its faults, it had its flaws, but there's so many things that you can learn from watching this show. Much like we see in the day-to-day world, it was a lot of young versus old. You have a generational divide that happens in the real world. Why wouldn't it happen behind bars? You have the old heads that think one way, and then, of course, the younger generation that think another way. Both of them think they're right. Neither one of them think they're wrong. But the thing that we saw unfold throughout this show is they started to realize they can learn from one another. And as they continue to do so, they realized that they both had a wealth of knowledge that could help either side. I've seen the complaints about the show. Oh, should these people be allowed to have the freedom that they have? Or, oh my God, they are criminals. Yes, they are. Okay? But let's just take for an example. This one lady spoke out against the show because she saw the man that was charged with murdering her son and she couldn't watch the show any longer. The problem with this certain individual is that he was later cleared of the charges. So this man was sitting in a jail cell 23 hours of the day in a jail cell with just one person, let out 1 hour a day for a crime that he didn't commit. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. Think about you being locked in a cell for 23 hours a day, not being able to do nothing, not being able to talk to nobody, not being able to speak to anybody other than your cellmate, and you're out for 1 hour a day. Of course, there is the whether or not sheriff had the right to sign off on allowing the cameras in there. The county was paid $60,000. There has not been an announcement whether or not these inmates have been provided any funds at all for what happened. If that's the case, then this is an exploitation of individuals, and that's completely unfair. If you've ever been on either side of that glass, you know how hard it is for individuals to really grasp the idea of reality. So, my question to you is this: if this gives one man hope, opportunity to get out of jail, to be a better man, wouldn't you want that to come to fruition? Ultimately, Unlock the Jail Experiment is a insane, crazy, wild experiment and something that I think worked more often than it didn't. Was it perfect? No. But I do believe that Sheriff Higgins is on the right track. And this is something that should be looked at, used, and potentially brought to the table in other prisons. If you watched Unlocked a Jail Experiment, let me know what you think about the series in the comments below.